20% battery, which means that it's probably like 10 minutes. So, see, another time constraint. Once again, constrained by time. That's the thing. Being in LA is like a giant time trap. It's a time loop. There's always somewhere you have to be, somewhere you have to go. There's always someone behind you in traffic. There's always a timer on the parking meter. There's always something going on. It's easy to get caught up in it. That's how I view psychedelics. They're sort of a transporter to a little bit more of an elevated perspective or an elevated state of mind. Weed is like the beer of psychedelics. It gets you a little bit out there. It brings some of your emotions to the surface, I would say. It brings some of your anxieties to the surface for sure. I think anxieties are kind of the first layer you have to peel back to really face yourself and to just kind of understand yourself, understand your emotions, where they come from and why you have them. And of course, you can never be definite about anything completely, but the point isn't to try to define everything, which I think that's what a lot of modern day mental health treatment fails to kind of address, is that we're not rational creatures, you know? Humans are not rational, which is fine, which is okay. We're interpretive, we're storytellers, we're feeling-based, we're emotional, creative, interpretive, open-ended. All those things are true in the way we think. But there's obviously certain systems in society that want things more defined and in a box and labeled. And in this case, I'm talking about just, you know, how we define mental states. And how we define substances, you know, drugs. Like everything is a drug, even when they're not related. I guess anything that has an effect on your brain could be a psychoactive drug, let's say. But even in that case, caffeine is a daily drug that most people take, obviously. But I don't think it's harmful necessarily to take it. I just would worry about doing too much too regularly or relying on it too much, but it doesn't seem very harmful to me. A lot of our modern civilization was built on caffeine. And before that, it was beer. I guess one problem is that it would be difficult to build a society on psychedelics. But we already have one built. In fact, sometimes we've built too much. I mean, I'm staring at a row of beach houses right now. Here, let me show this shot. Okay, back to the impromptu vlog. See, this is so, I feel so LA anytime I feel this. It's too much. I don't need it. Don't need any of this. That's the thing, is that worldly possessions kind of weigh you down. You know? Food weighs you down. A lot of things weigh you down. Baggage, emotional baggage or literal baggage. My backpack is right there. This is my camera, my phone, and my wallet are both in my pocket. Does it make a difference physically? Not that much. But this is my lens cap, wallet, phone. I feel like I'm at the airport. Maybe that's why they make you take everything off at the airport. They just want you to be show when you're flying. I'm sure that's what they're concerned about. Where was I? So, cannabis is like a mild psychedelic. It kind of gives you a different perspective in the sense that your thought patterns are less focused on being productive and like organized and, you know, just in that very problem-solving state of mind. You're not going to be great at problem-solving, but you are going to be good at coming up with new ideas, being a little bit more creative, maybe feeling your way through things. So you're more prone to being intuitive if you decide to be. Some people, I think they use weed very irresponsibly, in that they'll just get really high and just try not to think. They think it's beer, they think it's alcohol, they think the point is to dull your senses. And you kind of can do that on weed. But you could also face yourself and just kind of, well, I guess it depends on the strain a little bit too, but that's why I prefer sativa. But you can sort of go to war with your thoughts and win. You can win. Shrooms. Shrooms are completely different in that they open your perception. They allow you to exit the dimension of time. That's what it's like when you're tripping. But your setting, your feelings, your mental state going into it, all of these things are really important when your senses are that heightened and when you're that perceptive of the world and of yourself and of your own thoughts. Because if you feel uneasy, if you feel anxious, if there's too many unknown variables around you, you're going to be overwhelmed with information, with sensory information. And I mean, unless you're really strong-willed, which some people are, and they can just deal with it, and maybe, just the more experienced you are, the more confident you'll be in knowing you'll be okay. Because you will be okay, but just the fear itself can be traumatizing. But shrooms, I think, help you see the world in a new lens and see everything from, like, a child's imagination, a child's perspective, really. Just viewing the world with wonder rather than trying to define everything and, like, box everything in. I didn't even want to speak. I didn't even want to think at some point when I was tripping. I just wanted to be. Just be. I understood why so many songs say just be or let it be in the case of the Beatles. Sometimes it's okay to just be, because there's no time at all when you're truly just being. You forget about time. You escape the time dimension. Also, everything visually, the environment, the trees, the clouds, the mountains, the sun, it all just flows together like a beautiful Van Gogh painting. That's kind of what it looks like. There's this spinning force. When you close your eyes, at least when I was closing my eyes, I was on a hike in Malibu, Solstice Canyon. You close your eyes, you become sort of a part of that spinning force, and it's just this overwhelming feeling of joy, fulfillment, love. Your brain is technically secreting serotonin, but see, again, I don't try to define it through a chemical lens. That's what's happening as measured by a scientific thing in a physical, defined world. In the scientific world, that's the chemical reaction, but I don't think it could be, I think that's putting the horse before the cart, because I think chemical reactions are downstream from a higher plane of conscious being. I guess you could call that God. And that's what psychedelics help you see. This has been High Thoughts with Glink. Glink over things.